Hey, it's me. Hola, soy yo, Vicky, otra vez. And I'm just popped on to make this video because it's been a little while since I've made a video, and I had a look at some of my old videos, and I think some of them they're like this one that's going to tell you about coffee. And actually, I have a coffee, Tengo un café. For any of you who've ever visited Spain, if you go in a Spanish bar, the coffee is really nice and really cheap. But the thing is, there are so many different coffees that it's easy to get confused. It's easy to get confused. So what coffee do you want? Do you want a cafe con leche? Do you want a cafe con leche en vaso? Do you want a descafeinado? Do you want a cortado? Do you want a cafe solo, a cafe americano? You know, there's just a myriad of different coffees to choose from. So that's what we're going to look at, and we're going to have a look at the video I made last year, actually, telling you exactly how to order your coffee in Spain. So vamos a ver.
That you can buy in a Spanish bar or restaurant. Because it's quite mystifying, actually. There's so many different kinds of coffee to ask for. I don't mean types of coffee in the coffee bean. I mean ways of having your coffee. So once you decide the sort of coffee you like, the way you like your coffee presented. So I think the biggest problem people have is getting sort of the type of coffee that they would like. Anyway, so we're going to start off with these are in Spain. Also, they're in my region, which is La Comunidad Valenciana. As we go through them, if there's any that I'm missing, or that maybe they serve in your region that they don't serve here, please let me know. Please leave me a comment in comments, because I'd be interested to know that, or maybe in Latin America there are different kinds. So this is Spain that I'm talking about. So your first,
Yeah, coffee, it's like an art, in Spain. So when you go into a bar, you'll find some bars who do the coffee exactly as you want it. You know, I like my coffee sort of strongish, but not too strong. And then you'll find some places where they do it really strong. It's like your spoon could virtually stand up in it. So very bitter, that's not necessarily what I like. I suppose not many you'll find that don't do it very strong. So if you don't like it strong, you need to tell them poco cafe, or, no muy fuerte, not very strong, because it tends to come out stronger rather than weaker. In some places, it's crazily strong.
basic type of coffee that you might ask for in a bar is a cafe con leche. So cafe con leche is literally what it says, coffee with milk. And it normally comes in a cup, not a small cup, not a big cup, just a normal sized, I suppose what we might say was a teacup sized coffee. So cafe con leche, that's just your the basic coffee with milk. Now, un cortado is similar. It is a coffee with milk, but it's in a small, sort of tall glass. And it's like a half, I would call it a half cafe con leche, really. It's like maybe it's got a touch more coffee in there for more of a shot type coffee. But basically, it is a cafe con leche, but it's in a small glass, and it's called un cortado. Then, of course, we have one that I think sometimes people do make mistakes with, which is the cafe solo. cafe solo. So a lot of people think that that will get them a black coffee. Well, it will, but it won't get you what you might think of as a black coffee, like in a big cup. It will get you a small shot of caffeine in a little glass, just pure caffeine, basically. And quite often, then they'll put 2 sugars in it or whatever. So it's a real energy shot. A cafe solo is a small black coffee in a glass, one of those tube type glasses, but a small one, like the cortado, but this one doesn't have milk in. So a cortado has milk, and a cafe solo, no milk. Then you might want, on one of those cold mornings that we do get in winter, a carajillo. And a carajillo basically is that cafe solo, small black coffee, shot of caffeine with a splash of brandy. And this is only a splash. I mean, it literally is, because quite often you will see the workmen all having one in the morning, or even the police. That always entertains me. You've got the Guardia Civil sat there having a carajillo. But I mean, it's the tiniest splash of brandy. It's not like a great, like your normal measures of brandy that you would get in Spain if you were having a Cuba Libre, if you were having a drink. Now, personally, I don't like brandy, so on the rare occasions that I might have one of these, I always ask for it con whiskey, because brandy's not my thing. But yeah, a carajillo, it will come with brandy, but if you fancy it with whiskey, that's carajillo con whiskey, or con Tia Maria, or con ron, which is rum. You need to ask if you fancy it with a different type of spirit, ask for it with a different type of spirit. One that I do like very much is a bonbon. Now, bonbon, again, is a small sort of caffeine injections, I call them, in these small glasses. But a bonbon will have at the bottom, that's, well, it doesn't necessarily go in first, it goes in after, but it sinks to the bottom. Condensed milk with the coffee put over it. And I mean, it's yummy, it's very sweet, and it's not, for me, it's almost like a dessert. So it's quite nice after a meal instead of a dessert, when you fancy something sweet, but maybe, you're not really up to having a pastry, full dessert. A bonbon, they are nice. They look like an upside down Irish coffee, but in a small glass. And then, to make it more interesting, you might want to make it, instead of a bonbon, a Belmonte, which again, a Belmonte, that has a splash of brandy in it. So it's a bonbon, but with a splash of brandy, or in my case, if I ever have one, I always ask for a splash of whiskey instead. Belmonte con whiskey, por favor. And my favourite sort of normal coffee, if you like, is café con leche en vaso. Now, the difference between café con leche en vaso and just your bog standard café con leche is it comes in a vaso, which is a glass, but it's bigger. So, because when you get a café con leche, it tends to be in a small cup, as I explained earlier. I like a longer coffee, so it's like a bigger café con leche. I also quite like drinking out of a glass. Hot liquid out of a glass always tastes nicer for me. Okay, so if you did want a black coffee, like we were saying earlier, cafe solo is not what to ask for unless you want just a caffeine shot. If you want a long black coffee, if you like, or a large black coffee, you should ask for a cafe americano, and then you will get a bigger cup of black coffee filled with more water than the cafe solo, which is just a little shot glass. And something that I only really became acquainted with a couple of years ago, but I really, really like in the summer, is any of those coffees that you might ask for. In the summer, if you ask for them con hielo, so caffè con leche con hielo, bonbon con hielo, caffè solo con hielo, caffè americano con hielo. Yellow, of course, is ice. It's pronounced yellow because you don't pronounce the H. And what you will get is your coffee in whatever cup or glass, whatever particular coffee you've got. And then you will also get a bigger glass with ice. And you pour your coffee, whichever one you've selected, over the ice. And you get a lovely sort of frappe, is that the right word? I don't know. You get a lovely sort of iced coffee, and it's really, really nice and refreshing. But if you're like me, I actually don't like fizzy drinks very much. I'm not a lover of fizzy drinks, except for fizzy water. So typical, I've always got these sort of weird things. I don't like fizzy drinks, but I like agua con gas. But I don't really like Coca-Cola or anything like that. So sometimes in the summer, when you want a more refreshing drink, but you want a coffee, sometimes it's hard to have a coffee in the summer because it's so hot. So it's lovely to get it con hielo, and it's really, really nice. Okay, so for those of you who like your coffee decaffeinated, or to me, I'm a person, I don't see the point in drinking coffee if it's decaffeinated. It's like drinking no alcohol beer, I'm afraid, for me. It's just like, what's the point? But, I know some people aren't allowed to have caffeinated coffee. And I do think the good news here is in Spain that if you ask for café descafeinado de máquina, yeah, a decaffeinated coffee from the machine. So it will be with coffee beans, but decaffeinated coffee beans. So it still has got that lovely coffee taste. So if I was, hopefully it'll never happen one day, told I can't drink any more coffee, this would be what I would have: café descafeinado de máquina, and that is really quite nice. I do have that occasionally, like if it's late at night after a meal and you don't really want to have a caffeinated coffee because you might be up all night unless you're aiming to be up all night, which hopefully after the lockdown finishes and COVID disappears, we might be actually staying out late at night again, but not at the moment because we're not allowed to. But yeah, that would be what I would have if I was heading for bed after I'd had a meal in a restaurant.
Yeah, well, COVID's long over, but I'm still not going out in the evening. I am going to start, I say it every year. This summer, I'm going to start going out later again.
Café descafeinado de máquina. So it tastes just as nice as normal coffee, but it's decaffeinated. And of course, you could have that decaffeinated for all the other coffees, like your Bonbon or Belmonte or Carajillo. You can have them all decaffeinated if you would like to. If they're too strong, some people complain that Spanish coffee, or some bars and restaurants, they go in, the coffee's too strong. Not everybody likes a strong coffee. I don't like it too strong, but then I don't like it too weak. So obviously, somewhere in the middle would be nice. But if you don't and you want to decaffeinate it, but you don't like the machine, then what you should ask for is a café descafeinado de sobre. And sober is this fantastic word that has so many different meanings because it means on, about, around, above. And it also means envelope. And it also, in this case, means sachet. So you're asking for a decaffeinated coffee sachet.
Yeah, there's that word sobre, very useful word because, well, once you get to grips with all the different meanings of it.
And you'll probably get a Nescafe decaffeinated sachet to put and your cup with your coffee in, with your milk and hot water in, and then you put in sort of how much coffee you want to put in. So yeah, that's for people who don't like the strong taste of coffee and you prefer an instant coffee. And then the last one that I'm gonna, which is probably my favourite coffee that I haven't had one for a long, long time. I mean, just maybe that'll be a celebration next year when we're back out in restaurants properly. Is a cafe irlandais. So that's an Irish coffee. So again, you could ask for that decaffeinated. You could ask for a cafe.
Oh, I still have not had a cafe irlandais. So it's been years. I always used to have one every time when I went. That would be my pudding because I'm not really a dessert person. If I go out for a meal, I don't really like desserts. I'm normally too full from what I've eaten because I'm a savoury person. I like the starter, the main course. So it's rare for me to be able to fit in a pudding as well. And to be honest, it doesn't bother me. So normally I would have a cafe irlandais. But I bet it's been 5 years since I've had a cafe irlandais. There's another thing. I have to put that back on my list again.
Irlandais descafeinado, if you like. You can ask for a cafe irlandais con brandy. I think that would be the easiest way. Like if you're not really a whiskey lover, maybe you'd want it with Tia Maria. Maybe you'd want it with Bacardi. Maybe you'd want it with rum, which is Ron. So you've got Ron Blanco, which is Bacardi, of course, white rum. And then I'm trying to think what the other one would be. Ron Bardonnay, one of those. They normally ask for them by the actual marca, the actual name of the rum. And that would be a cafe irlandais. And one thing to watch out with is rarely in a Spanish restaurant will you get fresh cream with your cafe irlandais. It's normally the spray cream sprayed on the top, which is okay. I've got used to it over the years, but I do think, occasionally when you go into a restaurant and they come out and give you like the proper cafe irlandais with the cream. Of course, it's very difficult to do it with the cream on the top, though, that it doesn't sink down. If you do find a restaurant that does that, let me know which one it is there, because that is really, it is nicer, really. But a cafe irlandais, just be aware that you are likely to get spray cream, especially if it's a Spanish restaurant. Okay, so you've got a good selection of coffees there. If you're a coffee person like me, I like coffee. I like tea as well, of course. I'm British, but I do like a coffee every now and again. And we've got all these different coffees to try, and then you can find out which one you prefer. So I'm going to put all the names in and a brief description in the description box.
I'm just thinking of watching this video. You can tell that it was during COVID because I've got the COVID mask mark on my nose. I always had a bloody mark on my nose from wearing the masks. God, I hope we never have to go back and do that again.
If there's any that I've missed or any others that you know of that maybe I don't know of because they're not in my region, please let me know. And also don't forget, if there's anything you would like to see me cover on a YouTube video, please let me know, because I'm happy to, I want to talk about things that you might find interesting. So if there's anything to do with Spanish or Spain or these kind of things, or food or customs, etc., because of course settling down in Spain is not only about learning the language. You learn the language, but it's nice to learn about the way things are done here, so.
Yeah, it's true, because not only learning the language, but also what gives people a shock. It's the culture shock, literally. Things are different in Spain from in the UK. And if you're living in a Spanish area, like just asking for a coffee can be a challenge, knowing the right one to ask for, knowing that what time people tend to go in restaurants to eat. So you're not the only person in there eating at noon, for example, when Spanish people don't eat till 2, or in the evening they eat late, you know. So there's a big culture shock if you come to live in Spain, as well as the language.
So, yeah, let me know. Anything at all that you'd like to know, let me know. Okay, if you've enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. And if you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to subscribe, remembering that it's completely free, it doesn't cost any money.
There you go. She said it all for me there. That Vicky, she said it. Said everything I'm just going to say now. So yeah, if you found the video useful or interesting, don't forget, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And then costs no, as Vicky said, it costs absolutely nothing, and it just helps my channel out. Thank you to all of you who are subscribed. Thank you to everyone who's, or puts a thumbs up for my videos, and thank you to those of you that are members, and thank you to anyone who supports my channel in any way. Thank you so much. Okay, vale. So, te veo muy pronto en el próximo video, y hasta entonces, que tu Dios vaya siempre contigo. Adiós.